some young broke dude.
Today my heart broke. I stood in an elevator with a mom and her son who didn't have any shoes on. She asked me if I knew where to go to give up temporary custody of her child, and I actually laughed because I thought she was joking. Tears came to her eyes, and yes, I asked why. She replied, "I can't even put shoes on my son. It's not that I don't love him, but he's better off without me." Today I cried. I said, "What size is he?" She replied the same shoe size my youngest was in. We step off the elevator, I hug her, and I lean down to ask her boy's name. He says, "Mommy calls me Junior, but I'm Christopher." I tell my son to sit down. I take his shoes off, and I put them on Christopher. Today I lost a pair of shoes, but today I gave someone hope. I gave her one last hug and said, "Do not give up on yourself."
I was walking by the center of town and there was a bunch of gay people walking with pride flags in their hands, and they go, "Hey, what's up, kid? Are you gay by chance?" with this uncomfortable looking grin, and I said no. This motherfucker grabbed me and started choking me out with the pride flag. Luckily, I did karate for like 7 years, so I can fight my way out of it.
What's the most inappropriate thing you have done with a friend? We were at a lunch in a real nice restaurant, and after our salads were eaten, my friends pull out a breast and suggested we compare nipples. Why not, I thought, as I knew my nipples were more beautiful than anybody else's, so let's compare. So I pulled the breast out, and she knew immediately mine was nicer, so I won. Then we noticed people staring at us, so we straightened up, and then we saw the flash of a camera, and as much as we tried, that old fart would not give us the photo. My friend started kicking the elderly guy and knocked him down. She grabbed his camera, and out of the restaurant we hightailed. We got away, but we didn't keep his camera. My friend put it down on the sidewalk after removing the film. When we got to the car, there were guys all around wanting our autographs. They had used their phones to take our picture. They bragged. We gave them our autographs, signing us Playboy centerfolds.
Well, I have had a history of being a fuckboy. I would hook up with a different girl every 2 to 3 weeks. I eventually found someone I wanted to date, and she told me my cock tastes better because she knows I get a lot of pussy, and I definitely didn't tell her about my past. I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah, bro, hate it when that happens.
My mom's friend is a SWAT, and one day my mom can't pick me up, so the whole SWAT team came to my school, and my classmates were like, wow.
That's low-key cool, to be honest.
Yo, why do I sense crap?
Turns out riding your motorbike with your skateboard strapped to your back and just a Scorpions t-shirt invites people to tailgate you blasting Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins.
I had someone attempt to harass me about not wearing one in a store. I explained that I had just run 32 miles. I clearly don't have corona. They were pretty embarrassed by the rest of the customers laughing. I'm kinda a smartass, but I have always felt there are plenty of dumbasses already.
My teacher had used one of her leave days to go to a club, and she was supposed to have an assistant teacher come in her place. The assistant teacher didn't show up, so she taught us from the club she was at, online school. You could literally hear guys trying to chat her up as she taught us.
Put some pussy in their place tonight. Some kid with a mask at the haunted house thought he'd be funny and grabbed my girlfriend. Put both of his arms around her and said, "You're my candy now." Girlfriend looked at me and I knew her face was saying, "Beat his little ass, baby." You know what happened next. One right hook to the face and he was out cold. "You got anything to say, bitch?" I asked. "I'm your candy now." "Damn fucking right you are." Made out with my princess while his ass was on the ground crying.
When you create a mile-long traffic stop because the scenery and foliage is so breathtaking, you need pictures. I turned around and there was an officer who had gone around the traffic and was now behind me. I said, "I'm so sorry." He replied, "Don't be. I'm holding the traffic. Get that picture, honey. It's truly beautiful, isn't it?" I almost cried. I took another picture, said thank you so much. He put his hand on his heart, nodded his head, and waited for me to get in the car, then drove off. Today is a beautiful day, and I'm so thankful and happy to be alive.
I played this in my Spanish class, and my teacher was yelling, "Whoever phones that is turn it off." And this went on for the whole class. I kept replaying it.
And then everyone clapped.
Lions can hunt and kill their own food by the time they're 3 months old. My 3-year-old couldn't find her lunchbox, and it was in her other hand. I can't believe we're at the top of the food chain.
My 3-year-old can hit a target at 20 meters with a .22. That's why we're at the top of the food chain.
You think you can scare me? My first roommate had a drug overdose on Tylenol, was found drunk on a sidewalk by the cops, got alcohol poisoning and allegedly got molested, all in the first month of freshman year. She then dropped out to take a gap year in HK and changed her name. I wish I was kidding. I saw her in my class last semester and was like, oh my god, how was your gap year? And she turned around and said, what do you mean? I'm new here.
I'm an Amazon driver, and I had a package that was to one of Travis's studios, and I need a signature and got it, not from Travis. On my way out, I hear drumming on like a seat and took a couple steps to peek, and it was Travis. He saw me and said, hey, what's up, man? I said, huge fan, I love you, man. He laughed and asked if I knew how to play guitar, and I said, your band taught me how to play, are you kidding? He then asked if I had time to play a song with him. Of course I said yes. We ended up playing 4 old Blink songs. Before I left, he said, thanks for practicing with me, man. So I was at the gym, I'm doing my thing. 2 girls come up to me, we started talking about university and being a student, then they had to leave. I continued my workout. Before I leave the gym, they meet me again and say, you wanna have a threesome? I just can't believe it. Are y'all really that horny due to quarantine?
Who asked? Maybe don't be disrespectful to people with upper-class jobs and positions in society like me. You should never disrespect a lawyer because he can one day screw your life over. Me and my lawyer put this one shop owner in crippling debt because we felt like it after he decided giving me attitude was a good idea. You want to be the next one, buddy boy?
I actually was singing at one point, accidentally unmuted myself, and then nobody in the class said a word until I had finished the song. Then they started clapping. I was so confused until I realized I was unmuted. So if you want to talk about embarrassment...
A sub recognized me in a bookstore today, so I immediately grabbed 12 books, set it on the counter, told him to take out his card, and he did.
I ended up in one street fight because some guy was disrespecting my uncle for serving in the military and called my mom a bitch. He woke up in a hospital shortly after that, and the cop looked at me and said he deserved it and let me go.
I'll be right back.
r/ThatHappened.
It's hard to imagine what just happened today. I have this tweaker made a piss-poor attempt to hijack my car and he drew out his tiny Swiss Army knife at me. I was like, really? Is this really happening? In my response, I drew out a larger knife at him. He got really agitated me and said he was going to kill me, so I think. So I decided to pull out a second knife and told him I was ready. I told him I was going to call the ambulance, not for me, but for him. It happened really fast and my would-be carjacker decided to fled. Either I was stupid or just being bold. I should have taken this situation more seriously. Things would have turned dire if it wasn't in my favor. In case you're wondering, I carry these puppies with me at all times. Take today, for instance. I pull up to a stoplight and the guy next to me has his fucking mask on. He's in his car alone, so I stared at him. He looked over and saw my eyes burning into his soul. I didn't look away, didn't even move, just stared straight into his eyes. He looked away uncomfortably a few times, but always looked back at me, pathetically. I don't move. A good 40 seconds to a solid minute goes by. Finally, as if by some subliminal connection, something in him clicked and he removed his mask. I gave him a big thumbs up. The light changed and I drove away.
I was walking home with my 2 best friends, both girls. I'm a guy. When we were stopped by a group of sophomores and they were trying to get my friends to get in their car and go party with them. I don't know what they meant. And I told them to just leave us alone, and the 3 of them got out and started threatening me to get lost or I would get jumped. So I called their bluff and got in the alpha's face when he said, get them. I punched him in the face and yelled for my friends to run, and they did. And I fought for as long as I could, and my friends got home safe. And now I'm at the hospital, and only my dad is allowed to see me because of COVID. And I just got my phone from the doctors. Also, one of them had a knife and cut my arm. After that, it was just me trying not to die.
Yesterday I went to McDonald's and heard a little kid screaming, Mom, hurry up, there's only 4 Happy Meals left. I was the next in line, so I told the cashier, can I have 4 Happy Meals, please? I saw how his face shifted from smiling to crying. It was beautiful.
I am the alpha chick magnet. I can attract any women that I want and take her to bed anytime I want. Just take one wink from my eye to make them fall for me. Let me tell you an incident. Once my best friend went to a party and he brought his girlfriend and I just flirted with her. My flirting skills are super advanced. And gave her a wink and she went to bed with me and smashed her the whole night. She absolutely loved it. That's how good I am with flirting and romance. Well, they are just obsessed with me. The guy above in the video is a retard, such a boring man. I completed 80 assignments in one night. Can I get some appreciation for the effort? Everyone thinks I'm dumb for doing everything at last minute.
I've never heard that, strangely, and last weekend I alone was in charge of my 2 kids and their 3 cousins, all under 7 years old. Everyone in Target was just impressed. They were all well behaved. They started a slow clap for me as I walked through the frozen food aisle.
r/ThatHappened.
I'm standing at the bus stop and some high schoolers were trying to decipher the new timetable before eventually saying, "I don't know, ask the witchy goth lady," before promptly turning to me and saying, "Excuse me, ma'am, when's the next bus?" This is it. I finally reached peak aesthetic. I'm the local witch and I'm not even wearing a hat.
A friend of mine had a pocket pussy, and one day it came up missing. He ended up finding it in his stepson's room. He just walked into the living room where the stepson was and looked him dead in the eye and said, "You know how many times I nutted in that thing?" and watched the son's face turn to one of horror.
I'm a bit of a punk, and my usual outfits are either a baggy ripped t-shirt, plaid skirts, or torn jeans and leather jackets, etc. I get some stares from others and nasty comments, but I usually keep myself pretty composed. That was until today in Target when I was paying for something, and the cashier literally said to my face, "We don't serve your kind here." This pissed me completely off, and I got right up in her grill and said, "Are you mad because you couldn't pull this look off, bitch?" She looked completely defeated, and I just smirked, lit a cigarette up, and walked out of the store. One of the guys behind me high-fived me as I walked out. Fuck yes.
One time in middle school, a teacher wouldn't let anyone go to the bathroom, so I stood in front of his desk and pissed myself, and from there on out, everyone went to the bathroom whenever they wanted to.